Do a tag, a booktube tag. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin, and today we're gonna be doing a booktube tag. So I was tagged by literally Lo. We're on her channel for this intimidating TBR tag. So I'm super pumped to get into this. Thank you so much for tagging me, Lo. Thank you for thinking of me. And let's just dive right in. Be the intimidating TBR tag, and there is 9 questions here that I'm going to be answering and showing you the books that I'm intimidated to read. So yeah, number 1. So number 1 is a book that you've been unable to finish, and Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. Now, I picked this up in 2020 when it came out. I was super excited to pick it up and read it. I got about 200 pages into it, and guys, I just did not care. I did not care about what was going on. Now, this has like some mystery, there's suspense, there's like this whole thing. I mean, the whole summary of the book is something that should have definitely been right up my alley, and I just could not care. Now, I've kept this on my shelves since 2020 because I am bound and determined to pick it up again and actually read it. I'm just not a DNFer, and so it makes me feel like a failure. I'm trying to get better at that, but I don't want to DNF this forever. I did DNF it for the time being, but I would like to pick it up again and give it another go. I just haven't finished this. Just haven't finished it. 2. What book have you yet to read because you just have not had time? And for that one, I am going with Sleeping Giants by Sylvia Nouvelle. And this book, I've heard so many great things about this series. People have told me, like, once you pick it up, you're gonna blow through it and read it, and I just have not put it on a TBR. It has not been at the forefront of my mind when I'm picking books to read every single month, and I'm not a big mood reader, so again, like, I see it and I'm like, oh, like, let me get to that, and I just have not had time. I just haven't had time, or it hasn't gone on a TBR, so then I haven't had time, but I am super excited to pick this one up. I've heard some really awesome things about it. Number 3, a book that you have not read yet because it is a sequel. Now, Lo interpreted this a little bit different than how I'm interpreting this. She did book that was a sequel, or a couple books that were sequels that she hasn't read yet because she hasn't read either the rest of a series that it's built on, or she hasn't read the first book of said series, so she hasn't picked up the sequel. I'm interpreting this a little bit different because I have read the first book, and this is a sequel, and I haven't read it yet. And that is Jade War by Fonda Lee. I read Jade City at the end of last year. I now have Jade War and Jade Legacy that I'd like to pick up. I haven't yet, and mainly because I want to reread Jade City before I read Jade War and Jade Legacy, just so I know what's going on and I didn't forget anything, and I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that reread, so I haven't picked up Jade Ward yet, but I am super excited to read this, and look how pretty. Ooh, look how pretty. So this one hopefully will get read in the next couple of months. I just need to do that reread first. Number 4, a book that is brand new. And this one, I succumbed to the hype. I succumbed to the hype because I read the first book in this trilogy. I think it's going to be a trilogy. Yes. I read the first book in this trilogy, and I liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't think I was going to reread it. I wasn't planning on picking up the second one. And then the hype got me. I ended up pre-ordering this. And if you haven't guessed, this is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. The first book being House of Earth and Blood. This is the Crescent City trilogy, so this is Crescent City 2. I was not planning on picking this up. I wasn't planning on pre-ordering it. I wasn't really even planning on reading it anytime soon. But again, like I said, the hype got me, and I ended up pre-ordering it the weekend before it came out. So this is the newest addition to my home, and I am super excited to pick this up. It is very big, but if I know my girl Sarah J. Maas, I'll blow through it. So I am super excited to get to this one, hopefully sometime soon, maybe even this month if I go off the rails of my TBR. Number 5, a book that you read by the same author a book by an author you've already read that you didn't actually enjoy. And for that one, I'm going with Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I have read Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and I didn't enjoy that book very too much. I couldn't get down with like the characters, like the concept of the book was great, but the decisions that our main characters made and how the book kind of wrapped up, it wasn't for me. It was not for me. But I've heard good things about Survive the Night. I think it definitely has an interesting premise of, you know, some guy like being hitchhiking, and the person who picks him up is a serial killer, I believe. And that sounds fantastic. So I am going to give this one a go. I'm super excited, but I'm also intimidated by it because I don't want to dislike it, and I don't want to write Riley Sager off completely, but that might, I mean, he might not be the author for me. I don't know. So we'll see. We'll try to give it a go. Number 6 is a book you're just not in the mood for. And for that one, I'm going with The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichek. Sorry if I said that right. But this one I just haven't been in the mood for, and I don't know why. I don't know. It's a retelling. I love a good retelling. I love a good retelling. And when I saw this, when I was in Barnes & Noble, I picked it up. I read the summary. I was like, oh, that sounds great. It's not very big. Sounds like something I'm, right up my alley. And I just have not gotten to it. And I've probably had this on my shelves for like 8 months. So I am excited to get to this. I just haven't been in the mood for a retelling. So it hasn't made it on any of my TBRs in any month since I purchased it. But this one is on books that I want to read, 22 books to read in 2022. So here's the hoping that it makes it on a TBR, and I actually really enjoy it. Number 7 is an intimidating book that is just humongous. And now, while this book I'm about to show you isn't the biggest page count book that I have on my TBR, it just looks huge. It just looks like a big old boy, and that is Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward. Now, I know that this is a, adult epic fantasy, and I think that's what makes it more intimidating to me than really the length. It looks like it's super big. It's only about 7, only. It's about 760-ish pages. Yes, 758. So by no means the largest book that I own or that I've ever read, but for some reason, look at it. Like, look. Oh, it looks huge to me, and I think I'm mostly intimidated. One, that it's a big trilogy. I have all 3. I know it's epic fantasy, so I know that there's going to be some world building and just there's a lot to digest in those types of books, and so I think I'm intimidated by the size of it, but also the content that I don't know what I'm in for. I've never read anything by Matthew Ward, so I, obviously I'm going to have to get used to the writing style and figure out if that's something for me, but I'm looking forward to picking this up. I'm just very intimidated by it as well. Number 8 is a book that was a cover buy that ended up having bad reviews. I'm going to tweak this a little bit because I don't cover buy. I always read the synopsis. I know what I like, and so I typically don't buy just for the cover. I go off, recommendations or reviews or something that I'd actually be interested in. So I'm kind of switching this up, and this one's going to be a book that I'm intimidated to read because the series itself doesn't have the best reviews, and I'll explain in a second. So my book here is A Torch Against the Night by Sabah Tahir, and this is the second book in the Ember and the Ashes series. Now, I read that first book and I loved it. I thought it was so good. I blew through it. Couldn't wait to pick this one up and continue on with the series. But as I was getting this book and looking into the rest of the series, and I saw a couple of people's reviews and a couple of other people that I, watch YouTube videos and in book clubs with, were talking about this, and it was like the rest of the series was just like, and so I never picked it up. I was like, oh man, like I really liked the first one. Like I I really enjoyed an Ember in the Ashes, and now I don't want to taint that enjoyment of that book with continuing on with the series. And then what if I don't like it? That would be very sad. So I'm intimidated to pick the second one up and keep going because I'm afraid I'm not gonna like it like other people. But you know what? There's been plenty of books where I have picked it up and read it, and you know, the reviews of the book were like, not good, and I loved it. So I don't want to base not reading this book on other people's review of the entire series. But that does make me very intimidated to keep going with this series. So we'll see. The most intimidating book on your TBR, and probably to no surprise to people who know me, that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Now this one, page count comes in right at 1,001 pages. That's a big old boy. The font is tiny. I wanna love this. I want to love it. I want to be one of those people that gets to make the Stormlight Archive their entire personality for like 6 months and like only talk about this book. And I'm afraid that I'm not gonna be able to understand it. Like my little pea-sized brain's not gonna be able to comprehend what's going on and make the connections, because from what I've discovered with Brandon Sanderson is you're reading a book, and like especially like a first book in a series, like you're reading a book and a lot of things feel very irrelevant, and then they come back like 3 books later and it's like the most important thing. And so I want to be able to pick up on those things. I want to be able to digest like what's going on in our characters and everything. And I'm just scared. I'm frankly just terrified that either 1, I'm not going to love it, or 2, I'm not going to understand it, or 3, it is huge. It's huge. I don't want to feel like, you know, oh, I've read 500 pages and I'm only halfway through, and nobody wants to feel that way. So probably what I'm going to end up doing for this is a little trick that I don't know where I picked it up from, but somebody told me one time that if you have a very intimidating book, it was probably Ashley from over at A Frolic Through Fiction, I believe it was her, that said, I was getting ready to read The Priory of the Orange Tree, which is also a pretty thick standalone fantasy, and it's big. And so she said, try breaking the book up into like 50-page or like 5-chapter increments and just kind of tab those off so that when you get to that little bookmark, you feel accomplished. You feel like, oh, I'm getting somewhere. I'm achieving my goals. And then it makes the book feel a little less intimidating when you break it up that way. Yeah, I'm probably going to do that. I went ahead and marked what I guess like technically the halfway point is, but the UK versions of The Way of Kings are broken into part 1 and part 2. So my little bookmark here represents, you know, part 1 and part 2, just again to make it feel a little less daunting. But I probably also will break it up. I'm thinking I'll have to look and see how long the chapters are, but maybe like 5-chapter increments, again, just so I can feel like accomplished and feel like I'm getting somewhere with this. And I want to read this so bad. I am trying to get this on my TBR like every single month until I actually read the book. So here is to hoping that I get this one read and love it. So that is it. Those are my 9 books on my, you know, my most intimidating books on my TBR. Thank you, Lo, so much for tagging me in this Booktube tag. I love it. It was so much fun to do and to go scouring my shelves to find books to fit all 9 of these prompts. I'm not going to tag anybody specifically because Lo pretty much got everybody that I would want to tag. So thank you, Lo. But if you end up grabbing this tag from my video and you do this, please like tag me, comment down below. Let me know that you're going to be doing it because I would love to watch you do this tag as well. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you would like to subscribe to see some more videos like this, more tags, more TBRs, more of my face, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Your support means everything to me. And if you are still here and don't know what to say, but you want to let me know that you were here and you watched this video, just leave a little book stack below and let me know what your most intimidating books are and if any of these are also intimidating to you. But that's it for today, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.